I didn't have a car till 2009 or something. I didn't have my own car. 2009 I bought my own car when I was working. And then car became part of my life. And then after that, at that time I didn't notice. I started noticing a little bit later after I started becoming a little mindful. If there is a normal conversation happening, a group of people, some party or some break time, friends are speaking, a group of people are speaking. If the other person starts speaking something, incidentally he'll say, Mike, there was some problem in my car and I had to take it to servicing or something, he says, immediately I must speak about my car. It starts becoming a compulsion. The moment his car he starts speaking about, I must speak about my car for some reason, for some stupid reason. Power steering is, that is, my car is that, something. It may be even negative sometimes. It doesn't give good mileage at all. It may be negative also. But somehow you want to speak about your car. I started noticing this. The urge that comes, I'm giving the example of car. Okay, it happens everywhere. Everywhere you find some pleasure speaking about things around you, some specific things, which are petty actually. And you did not even speak about them, but somehow you will enjoy speaking about them as if they are the most significant thing happening in this entire universe. Recently, I was staying in somebody's house, and he was an artist. He's fine arts. He paints. The painter. He paints very nicely. He had many Buddha's paintings and all. And I liked it very much. That day evening, I was chatting with one of my friends in Bangalore. She's in Bangalore. I was chatting and I was telling I went to this house. And I found this, he paints and the paintings are very nice. I just made one statement. Her reply is, you should see my school drawings, they are horrible. Why are you even bringing your school drawing there? I am telling about somebody's painting and your mind goes to paint. Because of painting, you are my painting. Even if it is horrible, you want to speak of it. Meaning you want to stick out. Somehow you want to stick out. This is called ego. This is the nature of the ego. It is not that for the sake of transaction you shouldn't use. For the sake of transaction you will be saying, I am doing this, I am doing that, this is mine, that is yours, okay, fine. But I am talking about that something within you that starts enjoying it and starts becoming a compulsion. For some silly reason you want to speak of it. If you start becoming mindful, you will start noticing this. When you are a group of people talking, suppose a dog is sleeping there, you just say, see how nicely the dog is sleeping. Somebody in the group will say, I did not sleep properly today. Who is asking you? Why do you even want to talk about your sleep there? So when your thoughts start revolving around particular identity, then that is ego. It's a problem. It is a problem because, see, suppose you are in a dark room with a torch. You are in a dark room with a torch. What is the nature of the torch? It is to show you things. It is to illuminate and show you certain things. Okay. So if the torch is completely in your control, then you can use it to explore the room. But suppose the torch has become a compulsion, you want to turn it this side, but it will forcefully make you turn this side. You have to compulsorily keep seeing that only. Then is that not a problem? Can you use that torch to explore anything? Currently, mentally, if that pattern runs, meaning no matter what word you hear, this is a corrupt Google search. No matter what term you hear, you have to somehow talk about yourself there. It has to be associated with what you have done with that. Even if it is absolutely unrelated, for example, that painting, she is not a painter. If she was a painter, okay, fine, you talk about her. She is not even a painter. You should see my high school drawings. Why should I say if it is horrible?